Good morning, everyone. My name is Cheng'an. I'm a PhD student from the Institute of Machine Engineering, Chinese Academy of Science, and I'm presenting our paper, Aliasing Backdoor attacks on pre-trained models, and this is a joint work with Hanyang University. First, let's start with the background about the pre-trained models. Pre-trained models are widely used in transfer learning, and in a transfer learning scenario, the developer download a pre-trained model from a model market, and then it fine-tune it with a private dataset. And so to clarify, what kind of pre-trained models do we consider? First, we consider neural networks processing media data, so such as image, audio, and these models are, for example, the model used in computer vision and speech recognition. And more importantly, we only consider neural networks with stride layers. So what is a stride layer? Stride layers is a convolutional layer of stride larger than or equal to 2. And these layers are widely used in mainstream neural networks. For example, RedLab has a stride layer of stride 2 as its first layer, and VIT is patch embedding layer is of stride 16. So, and these stride layers are typically deployed as the first layer of these models. So let's see what exactly a stride layer does. So a stride layer can be broken down into 2 steps. The first step is convolution with no stride. And the second step is subsampling with a subsampling rate equal to the stride of the stride layer. So our observation is this, that a stride layer involves a subsampling operation implicitly. And the second observation is that the fact that the subsampling can result in anything effect. The anything effect is that when you subsample the original signal with an insufficient sampling rate, so you can't get the original signal back, instead you get an anything one. So, and the anything signal can be totally different from the original signal. And one interesting fact is that the anything signal can be manipulated by perturbing the sampling points. Here's an example from the image scanning attack. As you can see, the attacker just needs to modify the sampling points. The sampling points are a small fraction of the original image, and the attacker can change the output of the sampling with a very small perturbation. So our second observation is that subsampling can result in anything, and anything can result in manipulation attack. So based on these observations, so given a stride layer, our question is, can we manipulate the output of a stride layer by exploiting anything? So the answer is yes, we can do this by a backdoor attack. This is an example about how to manipulating the output of stride layer. In this figure, we have a stride layer and we want to manipulate its output. The output is also the output of the subsampling, so we have to manipulate the input of the subsampling. And the input of the subsampling is the output of the convolution kernel, output of the convolution operation. So we have to handle with the convolution operation. So we propose to perturb the convolution kernel with a weight perturbation, and the weight perturbation is kind of a matrix multiplication. And the matrix defined by a combination of subsampling operation and upsampling operation. So by doing this, we can create anything intentionally through this modified convolution kernel. And therefore, we can manipulate the output of the convolution, and therefore, we can manipulate the output of the stride layer. And we found that this kind of modified stride layer can behave like a backdoor. And is that when you feed a manipulated input into this stride layer, you can create targeted anything. So you get attacker specified output. But if you feed a benign input into this stride layer, you just create nonsense noise, so you can get normal output. So this is the pipeline of our attack. At the first phase, the attacker insert a backdoor into our pre-trained model. To do this, the attacker gets the stride layer of the pre-trained model, and for each convolution kernel, the attacker finds the matrix for it and to do the weight perturbation. So note that the stride layers are typically deployed as the first layer of the backdoor of the pre-trained model. So if you can manipulate the output of the stride layer, you can manipulate the output of the pre-trained model. So after the vectoring fine-tune the model, so the attacker generates triggers for inputs. Given an input and the target enable, the attacker should generate a stealthy enough trigger and use this trigger to view attacker specified output. So looking at this pipeline, the first question is how to find a matrix for the convolution kernel. So we basically search for matrix adaptively for different kinds of stranders. Stranders have different strides kernels, so you can use the same matrix to perturb the weight of the strand there. And we do this under two considerations. The first is attack effectiveness, and the second is model utility. So here is some details about how we do this. We do this by optimization. Basically, this optimization can be broken down into two goals. The first goal is to ensure that a manipulation attack is caused. We do this by minimizing the output difference and minimizing the input perturbation. And the second goal is that we want to minimize the negative effect of this backdoor intrusion. So we minimize the distance of the matrix we found to the identity matrix, and we ensure that the matrix P is from a constraint space. So we don't have time to go into this, so you can find the details in the paper. So this process is of no retraining, and you don't need the data from the downstream tasks. And this can be completed in minutes, and it can transfer to all downstream models. So we will demonstrate it in the evaluation part. So the second question is how to generate the trigger for a given input and target enable. We do this by select a target sample from the target enable. That is, we minimize the layer output difference between the target sample and the source input. And at the same time, we want to minimize the input perturbation strength. So in doing this, we can find a manipulated source input that share a highly similar feature to the target sample, and therefore the manipulated source input have the same prediction as the target sample, which is the target enable. So one interesting fact we found that is the target sample, when your target sample is closer to the source input, you can find a stealthier perturbation to launch the attack. So inspired by this, we just gather some candidate samples from the target enable. And we find the closest one to the source input as our target sample. So in doing this, we can find we can achieve stealthy attack. So during the trigger generation phase, all the triggers generated from source target pairs, and therefore it is an all-enable attack. That means that you can attack any enable of the vector model, because the target enable is determined by the target sample is selected. So if you want to attack any target enable of the vector model, just select a target sample from the corresponding target enable. So here we come to the evaluation part. Here we show how the backdoor can transfer to all downstream tasks. We found that first for the same backdoor pre-trained model, the backdoor can transfer to all downstream models. And because the aliasing is just aliasing, is not tied to any specific task or tied to any specific features of the inputs, so it can transfer to all downstream tasks. And second, we found that the backdoor can survive both fixed feature and full net fine-tuning. It is because the strand layers exist as the first layer of the model. So when you fine-tune the model, the strand layer receives less gradients updates, so it is hard to remove the backdoor by fine-tuning, especially when fine-tuning use small learning rate. And third, we find that there's a no backdoor insertion time, because we only needed to optimize the backdoor with the strand layer. And fourth, we find that the VIT model yields much better results than the Z50 model, as measured by the ASR and the model accuracy. It is because that the VIT model has a much larger stride size, which is 16, and while the Z50 model only have a stride of 2. So here we consider to evaluate the survivability of the backdoor. Here we consider conventional backdoor defense. Here is 2 examples about numerical links and CNTI to detect the backdoor model and the trigger input. So it turns out that the backdoor exhibits similar behaviors to the benign model. It means that these defenses cannot tell the difference between the backdoor model and the benign model. So here we consider to mitigate the aliasing of the strand layer. We consider 2 techniques, input filtering and smoothing of the weights with a low-pass filter to remove some high-frequency components of the layer weight. So it turns out that input filtering or smoothing of the weights can effectively defend against attack because the aliasing usually is susceptible to the preprocessing noise. So you found that for the selective media filter, it can reduce the success rate to almost 2%, only have 2%. So, and at the same time, it can maintain model accuracy. But if we consider a stronger attacker, the attacker is aware of the defense, and the attacker include the defense techniques during the trigger generation phase. That is, for example, you can use the input filtering as a pre-process when you do the trigger generation. In this scenario, the attacker can still achieve a considerable success rate. And if you use a much powerful low-pass filter to smooth the weight, for example, use a low-pass filter of cutoff frequency of 1 to smooth the weight, you can also reduce the success rate to 15%, but at the same time you cause a roughly 5% accuracy drop. So in conclusion, in this work we shed light on a new attack surface, the strand layers, and we try in the strand layers to propose the aliasing backdoor attack on pre-trained models. And we evaluated the effectiveness and survivability of the backdoor. So you can find more details in the paper. In the paper, we also, for example, in the paper, we also consider attacking the wave-to-vector 2 model, which is a speech recognition model. So thank you. I'm happy to take any questions.